Hello and good morning. Welcome to the virtual village hall. I'm at a slightly different angle today. I've had one of those mornings. So my tripod broke just as I was setting up and coming live to you. So I'm kind of resting my phone and my camera phone on a paint pot, on some books. So let's hope that, it can't really go any worse today. This morning can't really go any worse, so we're going to run with it and see how it goes. And what I'll be doing, I'm going to rest the phone so you'll hopefully be able to see what I'm doing here, and I'll keep holding it up as well. But anyway, welcome to the virtual village hall. I'm Rachel from I Printed That, and I'm really looking forward just to kind of getting out of panic mode and spending a few moments just doing something creative with you lovely people this morning. So if you are watching live, please do just pop onto the comments and say hi. If you're printing along as well, please say hi. Let me know what you're printing with, what sort of coloured paper you're printing with, what your ideas are this morning, because we're doing something called Chine Collé, which sounds very exotic, but basically it's French for Chinese and then collage, which we don't actually have a word for anyway. So it's Chinese because originally it used really fine, beautiful Chinese papers. Now we're going to kind of adapt that today to use various coloured papers. And Chine Collé is a great way of spontaneously adding colour to your prints. It's often used with linocut, but today we're going to do some monotypes. So they're just like one-off prints, and we're going to use some leaves to do it, to add texture and sort of a natural element to our prints. And we're also going to use some text and also some drawing onto our final pieces. So I'm going to attempt to twist the phone so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so hopefully you can see this small part here, and we'll get started. So I'm going to start off just with a design. I like to draw something out so I've got a basis to work from, but it's entirely up to you. If you're kind of more of a freestyle person, then absolutely just go for it. And I'm going to be working on a postcard size piece of paper. And this is my design. So I'm going to have some coloured spots here. I've gone for a pink and blue theme. I'm then going to put a leaf print kind of about here. And I went out in the garden this morning and collected some leaves. So I always put them, I always look at the veins just to make sure sort of how good the print's going to be. This one's actually from a very early flowering white comfrey. It's in bud at the moment, and it'll be in flower in the next couple of weeks, and the bees go crazy for it. So if you're trying to attract pollinators to your garden, white comfrey is a great one to have, early flowering, and the bees love it. So that's the leaf print that I'm going to be using. I've also, you can see these sort of rectangles here. So as I was searching through all my papers and that sort of thing, I've got a stash. I'm sure you have. If you like scrapbooking, then you've probably got a stash, or journaling. And in my stash, I found what I'd totally forgotten about, some stamps. So my local Oxfam, and yours possibly does as well, sells various stamps. They bag them up in different sort of denominations, some countries from around the world, from Britain, sort of kind of decimal stamps as well. So they're a great one to add to give your collage, your Chine Collé piece, some real interest. So that's what those rectangles are there. And then this space looked a bit empty, so I'm probably just going to add some of the same spots just to give the piece balance. And then I might go for a word as well. You don't have to do writing. It's a little difficult because it all has to be backwards, but what we can do, we'll have some practice and we'll give it a go. So that's my basic design. As I said, the colours that I'm going to be using, I'm going to stick with blue and pink, because I've also got some, here we are, some blue and pink stamps. Oh, that's the blue one. Some blue and pink stamps to carry the theme throughout the print. Okay, and my base is actually going to be just some brown paper packaging. you probably find that in most things that you order online, you get a lot of brown paper. So rather than throwing it in the recycling, or if you've already thrown it in the recycling, go get it out because it's brilliant. It's a really nice sort of paper to print onto because it's quite absorbent, so it will take the print really well. But also I quite like that it's a bit crumpled already, so it almost takes that pressure, that fear factor of putting something onto it. But not only that, it's got a good texture and it gives a vintage feel. So I'm kind of going for a bit of a vintage feel with my Chine Collé this morning. So first things first, I need to cut out my postcard size piece from this paper. So let's move a few bits out of the way. So far, so good. Yeah, thanks for being with me today. It really has been one of those mornings. So I'm going to find sort of a nicer piece, and I've got just a postcard. They're about 10 centimetres by 15 centimetres. So I'm just going to draw around that. And then cut it out. So if you've just joined us, I was just explaining the sort of morning that I've had, tripods breaking, my setup really not working at all. So I'm already feeling just so much more relaxed, just thinking about doing something a bit creative and also hanging out with all of you. So thank you ever so much for joining me this morning. There we go. I'm just going to put that to one side as well because we might want to do some test prints on that. Finish cutting out the card, the paper, sort of postcard size paper. There we are. So with Chine Collé, you always stick first and then print afterwards. So I'm going to have my design just to the side of me, just as a little memory. And let's see if you can, I don't think you can quite see that, but I'll keep holding things up. And I'm going to start with these circles here. So I want all the circles about the same size. So I'm just folding my tissue paper. You can use any sort of paper for this. I particularly like tissue paper because it adheres so well, almost becomes part of this paper once you've glued it. So I've folded that over a few times, and then I'm just going to cut a circle. I've got it once more, so I've got lots and lots to use. So you might want to draw the circle. I'm quite happy for it not to be entirely accurate. I always think with hand printing, I like it to look hand printed or have a slight handmade feel to it. I always say perfection is overrated, which is just as well, really. Okay, so there I have my circles, and I'm going to start sticking those. So I've got a pot of glue here. It's just some PVA, and I've just watered it down slightly with water, just so it's not quite so gloopy. It runs a lot smoother, and that's what I'm going to use to stick my circles on. Okay, so this is it's a little bit fiddly. So you don't need too much glue. I probably had a bit too much glue on that. So not too much glue at all. It's fine, it's fine. There we go. And I'm just going to start sticking those tissue pieces, those circular pieces of tissue paper. And I'm going to go for a grid formation 3 by 3. And sometimes you end up with an extra bit. So do that one as well. And you'll see if you're using tissue paper, as I said, it almost molds into the base paper. If you've got, if you do much decoupage, that's another sort of paper that you can use for this. That bit might be nice, and it's just really adding colour to your prints. That's it, I'm feeling a lot more relaxed now. Okay. That circle was a circle and a bit, so I'm just going to chop that end off. Just wipe my hands. I've got some glue on it. Some spare water here. So as I'm doing this, please feel free to pop on into the comments. Let me know where you're printing from today. I can't see your comments at the moment, but I will go through back afterwards and I'll answer any questions you've got. Anything you think I've missed, or anything that else you'd like to know about this particular technique. And I'll go back through afterwards. Don't forget as well that you can share this video, or if you're just coming in now, you can watch it again. All the videos from the Virtual Village Hall stay on the page, and you can also search in the video categories as well. Okay, so that's my spots done. I won't put the other one in the corner just yet. I'm going to wait to stick a few more bits in, and then I'll see exactly where it needs to go for a bit of balance. So where it says love, I'm going to have blue underneath that. And rather than cutting this time, I'm just going to tear the paper. It's quite nice to have a bit of interest with some teared paper, torn paper. Adds a bit of texture. Stick your fingers again. Position that. And then just using a very thin layer of glue. Stick that down. So now I've got my stamps, which I've put over here. And I'll just position them before, sort of just overlapping. Position before I glue, so I'm happy with them there. And this pink stamp is Austrian. I've got a sort of a grey, very dark grey, which is a French stamp. And then finally a Mexican one, which is my blue. So I'm keeping that theme of blue and pink, and my final prints are going to be in a dark grey, so I've added that stamp as well. Okay, and then finally I'm just going to add another pink. I could show you that at that point. There you go, so that's most of my sticking done. Just going to add a pink one in the corner. Just to give it a slight balance, and then most of this is going to be filled in with some prints. It may be that I'll stick a couple on afterwards. We'll see what it looks like. But I think at this time, let's go less, and then we can always add in. Okay, so I'm just going to put that to one side to dry quickly. And while it's drying, I just want to tell you about a project that I'm working on at the moment. I'm just about halfway through it. It's totally different, nothing related to printmaking, but I thought you'd be really interested to hear about it. So it's a public art installation in a town next to where I live called Strood, and I've been commissioned by Medway Council and other sort of European funding pots to make a phone box, a BT phone box that is currently derelict. There's no glass in it. It looks very unloved. I've spoken to BT, who very, very kindly have given me permission to do this also. And what I am doing, I will be filling it with BT phone cards. So if you remember these, then you can definitely take part. So I've got lots and lots. I've got about 1,200 BT phone cards, and each one is going to have a memory on it of using a phone box. And then they're all going to be displayed on the glass is going to be replaced, and they'll all be displayed on the windows, so people can come and they can read phone box memories. And that's where you come in. So if you have a memory of ever using a phone box, so it might be a conversation you've had in a phone box that sticks in your mind, it might be life-changing, it might be just a really mundane conversation or a weekly conversation that you used to have. So with a family member, perhaps you'd moved away and you made contact every week, because for some people the payphones were our only means of contacting people. Not everyone had landlines, did they? So what I'm doing, I'm gathering all those different memories. It might just be kind of like the little quirks of using phone boxes, and I'll just let you know a few of them. So I've had people who were girl guides who said that they used to carry 4 old pennies in their top pockets in case they ever needed to make a phone call, and they got one of their first badges by using a telephone box as well. So it's that memories like that. I've had a few where there's been a dash to the phone box to call the midwife. I've had people sheltering from the rain in phone boxes. So just anything really that you would like to add to my art installation, that would be absolutely incredible. What you can do, you can either put it in the comments, and if you're happy for me to use your name, then please put your name and also a rough sort of year that the memory was from. If you don't want to put it in the comments, then I've also got a form on my website. So if you go to www.iprintedthat.com/welcome, you can read a little bit more about the project, and also you can submit your own memory. The art installation is, I've actually titled it "Who Would Welcome a Call?" So the idea is that, you know, text, we often use sort of messaging on Facebook, we use text, we use emails, but sometimes it's just really nice to pick up the phone and hear the voice of someone that you love. You know, that's always welcome. So that's also what my art project is planning to do. So I'm able to collect memories from sort of everyone, but also particularly after people who live in Strood in Kent, because I want to make sure that the community gets involved in this art project too. You can let everyone know, all your friends, all your family know about this art project. They're very more than welcome to add their own memories, and I really look forward to reading them all. Some of them have been really emotional, some of them have been absolutely hilarious, yeah, and some of them have just been really heartwarming. It's such an amazing project to be part of, and if you'd like to be part of it too, then please do get in touch either in the comments or go to that web address, and I'll make sure that I'll put it in. Okay, so that's that done, and now just check, yeah, the paper's a little bit more dry, so we're going to go back to doing some printing, and I'm just going to position you so hopefully you'll be able to see. That's it, without the phone falling over. Okay, so back to our Chine Collé. So I've done the collage piece, that's all done, and now I just need to do the print piece. So I've got here just a piece of perspex. You could use sort of anything similar really. You're just after a nice flat surface, clean and smooth. Now you can't really use acrylic paints for this or watercolours. The best paints to use are what's called block printing ink or linocut ink. And working with my colours, so I'm going to go for this dark grey of this French stamp. So I'll start with some white ink. A tiny bit of black. I can always add a little bit more if I need to. And then I'm just using the roller to mix the colours, but also to spread a very thin layer of ink over the plastic. Just going to add a little bit more black. It's come out a little bit lighter than I'd hoped. Yeah, that's better. I like that. Great. So I'm going to start with printing the leaf. Now, rather than use the roller to get the ink on the leaf, I like to use this plate. You can be a lot more controlled and it's less messy as well. So all I'm doing is just placing it onto the plastic and just making sure that contact is made with the leaf and the ink. So you might just need to open it out slightly. I'm going right up to the edges, all along the stalk, get into all of those veins to really coat the whole leaf. And then just finally I'm going to press on the edges because I want to get an outline onto my print. Take some of the ink off of my hands and then do the other side. So when I peel it off, oh, I peeled it off slightly, but I can just see there's a few more bits that I need to go over. That's it. So as you can imagine, the ink is now transferred onto all those veins, and that's why I use the vein side down rather than the top of the leaf. I might just do one more little bit, and then I often do just a practice print at this point, just to make sure that you've not got too much ink on. So lay it down, and then just using your fingers again. Make sure it's a little bit cleaner. I don't want to get ink everywhere like I normally do. There we go. That's nice. Yeah, you get a really nice subtle print. So yeah, I'm happy that I'm not using too much ink. So just, you don't need to do it quite as much this time, because there will still already be ink on there. But just go in again, taking in. It is quite important that this is a thin layer of ink. Because you don't want too much, because it sort of ends up quite smudgy. Okay, so move my board to one side, make sure my fingers are clean, because I'm going to be touching what we're actually printing onto. Bring that over. Just place it down where I want to. So I want to go, so I'm going to do it just over the spots that we made, a little bit onto the blue, and then it will just go onto one of the stamps as well. Make sure the stalks all printed well. Go, and then that's my print. So it's gone over some of these pink spots as well, so it's added, yeah, I really like that. It's added a bit of interest. So now we're going to sort of do some writing. So this is a little bit more difficult because it all has to be in reverse. So I was thinking, if you didn't actually want to write anything, you could do some drawings, but just remember that they will have to be in reverse. But also you could just do some kind of joined up handwriting sort of squiggles, which work sort of fairly well. So something like this. So I'll just show you how to do that now. We go back to our ink pad, and we really need to make this very, very thin to do this part. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to wipe some of that off. Water here, because when you help, you almost need to be able to see through it. And it's also a good idea while you have a practice at this point on some scrap paper, because it does take just sort of a little bit of practice to get this one right. It's mainly in the ink, getting the right amount of ink onto the plate. Always got plenty of art details around. They come in so useful. So what I'm just doing, I'm just going over to give myself a good even coating of the ink. But you can see it's nice and thin, so you can just see my hand behind that. That's how thin this ink is. with that, but we're going to have a practice just in case. So again, practice using the exact paper that you're printing onto, because it might be different. It might work differently on other sort of papers. Put that to one side. I'll keep that. I like that. That could be used for something else. And we'll just start just by doing those kind of handwriting squiggles. So lay the paper down, but don't press it down. Really just let it rest like that. I then use the scissors to hold, because what you don't want to do is hold with your finger, because then you'll end up with a fingerprint on the other side. So I just use the scissors, because all you're going to end up with is a tiny mark. And it's got a vintage feel to it anyway. So I'm going to, so when I write, my writing slants to the right. So when I do this, I'm going to make sure my writing slants to the left, so that when it's printed, it looks like it slants to the right, if that makes sense, but I'll show you. So all I'm doing, I'm just kind of doing pretend kind of joined up writing. So it kind of gives the effect rather than actual words. There you go, and that's how it comes out. So now what I'm going to do is just going to add some of that. I'm happy that I've got the right amount of ink on here. I'm happy that I can do some kind of freehand writing here. So I'm going to now add that to my postcard. So I'm going to add it in this top corner. So what I'm going to do just on the back, I'm just going to give myself some kind of guidelines as to where I want the writing to go. So I'm going to want it to cover this pink. So I'm just going to make a little dot on the back. I don't want it to go over too far over to here, so just a dot on the back here, like so, and then just down as far as the blue, and then here. So I've got those 4 dots, so I'm just going to line those up so that I make sure I keep within those lines when I'm printing, like that. So now I twist it over so that the collage is facing down. Just gently drop it rather than push it down. Hold it with my scissors. And then I'm just going to do some squiggly writing. If you're confident in writing backwards, then please do. Lift it carefully off, and there we go. We've got some writing that sort of adding to this postcard feel. So now I just want to finish it off with the word love here, and I'll show you a little cheat for doing this. So I take some of my tissue paper. Let's fall on the floor. Take some tissue paper. Just going to make sure it's about the size of the piece of glue here that I want. And I'm just going to write the word love. There we are. And the great thing is I can see through the back. So when I turn this over, I can place this on top and I can write over the top backwards. So I know I'm not going to get any of the letters the wrong way round at all. But before I do that, I just want to do the same thing I did with this part, making sure it's the right way up as well. I just want to mark the back so that I know where I'm going to be putting that word love. So I'm just marking on the blue, just at the back of the blue. That's it. I've got my 4 dots. Just roughly draw that up, join that up, like so. And you do really want to make sure that that's dry. That's pretty dry now. So make sure it's dry before you do any printing. Just again, so I'll get a piece where I haven't been over it. Let's go. So this bit I've used, so I'm going for a bit that I haven't used. Just place it on. Remember, don't push it on there. Oh. I'm just going to go over this love once more because so that I can see it properly on the other side. That's it. So you should be able to see it fairly clearly. Put it on the other side in that square that I've made. So hold it down with the scissors, and then I'm just going to do it really carefully. Just take your time, making sure that you don't press down with this finger. So again, takes a little bit of practice. Maybe do a few practice ones first. The O is quite a difficult one. I need to concentrate on that. It's quite twirly, and I'm trying not to move the tissue paper at the same time. So it got to the end. Just going to make sure there aren't any bits that I missed. And the moment of truth. There we go. So that is Chine Collé. So we've done some collage using tissue paper and some stamps. We've added a leaf print, and then we've also added some writing as well using a monotype print technique. So thank you ever so much for bearing with me this morning. I think it went quite well considering how it went just before I joined you. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to show you that technique. I hope that's inspired you to look through your recycling bins, to look through your stash of paper. So now it's over to you. What are you going to print? What Chine Collé designs will you come up with? Please, if you are doing anything creative based on today's session, then please do take some photos and put it in the comments, because we always love to see your wonderful creations here on the Virtual Village Hall. Thanks so much. Again, if you have any phone box memories that you'd like to share as well, then you can put them in the comments, or you can go to www.iprintedthat.com/welcome. And I look forward to reading them all, and I look forward to seeing you on here again soon. Have a great rest of the day. Take care. And yeah, I'll see you again later. Bye.